Hey, New Balance. Nice job.
Ginger Runner.
What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner review. Today is a fun one because the shoe is fun. Who doesn't like fun? Today, we're going to be reviewing from New Balance the Fuel Cell Prism. Before we dive into the review, of course, I have to point out that these shoes were provided for review by Running Warehouse. I am allowed to say whatever the hell I want. So I will. So I have been pretty vocal about my love for Fuel Cell in the past. About a year ago, I reviewed the Fuel Cell Rebel. It was an awesome shoe, really weird looking, but overall I enjoyed it. And I kept that pair for a long time, even after that review. Would rotate it in from time to time for some of my road runs and speed work. I'd even classify that shoe as sort of one of my surprise hits of 2019. And I kind of want to say that the Fuel Cell Prism is as well, but for 2020. Which is just a great year so far. But the new Prism almost slipped through the cracks for me because it's classified as a stability shoe. But I would certainly say now, having run it a lot in this shoe, that is a bit of a misdirection. I more often than not look past stability shoes only because they tend to be really overbuilt. They never really feel balanced or comfortable to me. They act more like a cast rather than a crutch. And I know many people out there, many runners out there have asked, like, why aren't you reviewing stability shoes? And I don't tend to like stability shoes at all. So don't let the Prism being a stability shoe keep you from looking at this if you don't normally wear stability shoes. So I just kind of want to take that out of the equation altogether here. There is a lot of great things happening with the New Balance Fuel Cell Prism, and I'm pretty pleased with this silly looking road kick. The Fuel Cell Prism takes a lot of what I loved about the Rebel and enhances it. A more traditional upper replaces the knit booty material for a more traditional fit. The midsole is enhanced with a few more millimeters of height, which is always very welcome in my book. The heel counter has strength and rigidity, while the medial side is enhanced with a denser midsole through the arch for those who needed that added stability, something that I noticed was lacking in the Rebel and I called out in that review. So the New Balance Fuel Cell Prism has been a big surprise for me, with a couple of typical yet interesting quirks. So in my reviews, I like to talk about the things that I like and dislike about a shoe. Today is no different. Let's start, as always, with the things I like about the Fuel Cell Prism. That Fuel Cell midsole. I like it. There's more of it. It's not an overwhelming amount of fuel cell. We're not talking Hoka category or anything where there's a big chunk of midsole underfoot. There's just enough to give you that lovely bounce that fuel cell is known for, and really help you roll through that gait foot cycle without any interference. It's soft, it's comfortable, it's bouncy. It's got all those good things that I came to love about the Fuel Cell Rebel in that midsole. Leading me to my next like, added stability. So one thing with the Fuel Cell Rebel was that it lacked a lot of structure through that medial side of your foot. And I noticed it. I don't really need a stability shoe. I don't like a stability shoe, but that shoe lacked a lot of that structure. We have it here. And it's a bit denser midsole material, which is nice, but it isn't so much that it interferes with a typical neutral road running gait. If you are someone who likes stability elements, you will like it. If you are someone who just likes a neutral shoe that does provide you with plenty of support underfoot, you'll like it. So it's a really well-rounded shoe, which I think is a really good thing. Upper fit. So the Fuel Cell Rebel that I reviewed had the sock-like booty that they used as the upper, which I enjoyed. I also thought was a bit of a detriment. This new upper here is a nice, thin, breathable mesh with a little bit of welded overlay throughout the shoe. So it's going to provide you with a bit more traditional fit that you have come to know from New Balance. If you're looking for laces that tie down and don't overlap and cause any sort of fabric issues, this is really the way to go, which I think is a bit of an enhancement here. Lacing is easier, fit is easier through the midfoot. You're going to get a better lockdown, which just overall provides a better upper experience. Not to mention a lot more structure here through the heel counter, which does help with lockdown. You get the additional lace holes, everything like that. Fit, it's great. Weight, it's a really lightweight shoe. The Fuel Cell Rebel was somewhere in the 8.8 ounce range for my size 11, 9.2 ounces in the Prism, which is not a lot more weight, figuring that you added about 4 more millimeters of fuel cell midsole, an upper that is built with materials that are a bit denser, a bit more durable, while the Rebel might be more designed for a race fit and a race experience. I think that the Prism does a really good job of being just kind of that neutral trainer, a little bit of stability through the medial side, and it does not weigh a ton. That being said, it's not all Saturday morning cartoons and bowls of Cap'n Crunch with Crunch Berries. There are a couple of things that I dislike. Shape. Now, not necessarily from bird's eye perspective or the human looking down on the shoe, which was something that I thought was quite interesting with the Rebel. You still get a bit of that weird shape here in the Prism. It actually comes with the overall shape of the shoe underfoot. We're getting some convex shaping under the mid and forefoot area. The best way for me to describe how this shoe sometimes feels underfoot is if you take a Skittle and you squish it between your fingers, and it gives you that sort of rounded, flat shape. If you took a blueberry muffin and you squished it and you put that underfoot, or maybe if you just step on a pillow. Let me try that again. As your foot strikes from midfoot to forefoot and it rolls through that foot strike, you're gonna feel that convex shape under the forefoot as your foot begins to search for the perfect balance. It's gonna wanna roll a little bit left and right. So it takes some additional ankle support and muscle support to really find that perfect sweet spot. I don't wanna make it sound like it's an overly bothersome sensation. It is just something that I noticed, which is a little bit different than the Rebel. It's just something I noticed, something I wanna make you aware of. The tongue. I have just become a huge fan of gusseted tongues, something that sort of incorporates that fit through the midfoot into the tongue build. This one just hangs loose in there. It tends to want to slide off to the side. There's just a lot that has happened in tongue technology in the last few years that I think we can incorporate into this. It's bothersome, and I really noticed it. That also just made me realize that this shoe and pretty much every New Balance ever, the insoles just want to slide on out. I don't know if it's the glue that they use or whatever to keep the insoles in the shoes, but man, every single New Balance, so I noticed that too. And finally, midsole durability. So this was something I did notice in the Fuelcell Rebel, and I noticed a little bit in the Fuelcell Prism. The Fuelcell itself feels great. I really do like that bounce. I think it's really forgiving, has some responsive elements as well, but it does break down the more mileage you get in it. So 100, 150 miles, you're gonna start to feel that fuel cell just flatten out a little bit. You're not gonna get the same life out of it that you did right out of the box. That can be said about a lot of midsole materials and compounds. I just want the shoe to last a little bit longer, give you that same sensation that you get from mile 50 to 100. So it's just something I wanna make note of. That is actually it for my dislikes for the Fuel Cell Prism. So in conclusion, I would say that the Fuel Cell Prism is an absolute blast. Those of you who are familiar with stability shoes or prefer stability shoes, you'll feel familiarity here along the medial side of this shoe. Those of you who prefer more of a neutral shoe, who like to midfoot or forefoot strike, don't spend a lot of time here through the medial side or through the arch, you're also gonna feel right at home in this shoe too. It provides enough stability to help balance out one of my issues with the Rebel, but not so much that the shoe becomes cumbersome, overbuilt, really structured, and wants to fight you throughout your entire foot strike. The shoe is well balanced, comfortable, sporty, springy, and I like it a lot. Let's get more specific. Build quality. So I'm actually really pleased with the build quality of this shoe. I think the new upper is great. I think the materials are gonna last you a long time. Something that I've just kind of come to know from New Balance. Their uppers tend to hold up pretty dang well. The fuel cell, it's great. The added stability density here through the medial side, it's a welcome addition. Comfort, as I've already mentioned, the Fuel Cell midsole is great. It's very bouncy, it's very comfortable. On longer runs, anything over 14, 15 miles, I found that my toes wanted to really get into each other. It is a bit of a narrow shoe. They do make the shoe in widths, so if you are looking for something with a bit more toe room, I encourage you to look at those. Fit, better than the Rebel. So with this lace system, the heel counter, all of that together, you really get a good lockdown in the shoe. The Rebel had a good lockdown, but it could have been better. This is the better version of that, which is welcome. But beware of the tucked in pinky toe problem with more narrow shoes. Price, at $119, it's actually a pretty good price point. I know that I've talked about shoes in the last couple of weeks, anywhere between the $120 to $130 price point. $120 US is pretty dang good for a shoe that is gonna be a fantastic trainer, fantastic for tempo runs, and will last you hundreds of miles. So I think it's a pretty good deal. And a little birdie told me that you can even get the Fuel Cell Rebel, the shoe that I reviewed last year, for an even better price. Links in the description. And finally, looks. You know, it's fine. This is not a really dramatic looking shoe. I think the colors are fine. It screams a little bit like a dad's shoe, but there are other color versions. New Balance always tends to do really good spicy colorways and then some more traditional style colorways. I think this is leaning towards that more traditional route, which, you know, doesn't quite tickle my fancy. That being said, that is quite the objective opinion. Bringing us to our final criteria, is the Fuel Cell Prism a buy, try, or a why? Solid try. I really enjoy this shoe. I've run a ton in it, road, and even some gravel surfaces. It holds up really well. I just did a 14-mile run in it today. and really have no problems. It holds up really, really well. So if you like stability shoes, take a look at it. If you like neutral shoes, don't rule it out. And that is it for my review. If you want to find out more information about the Fuel Cell Prism or get a pair for yourself, there are links in this description that will take you over to Running Warehouse. They're affiliate links. They cost you nothing. They help the channel out. Consider using them if you want to go grab some gear, whether it's this pair of shoe, another pair of shoes, some gear like nutrition, packs, whatever. If you like this review, make sure you like, favorite, and subscribe to this channel. Clicking the notification bell will update you every time we upload a new video. Make sure to do that. And of course, social media links there. That's where you can go and follow us across different social media platforms. And at the bottom is patreon.com/thegingerrunner. For as little as $1 a month, you get to help us out, keep the lights on, the mics hot. But right now we're doing daily live streams. So every day we are doing an hour or so live stream, both Kim and myself. We're talking about running, gear. We answer all of your questions. It's fun. And that is at the $3 level and above on Patreon. Every single day. We're at 120 episodes. It's a lot of episodes. That's it, everyone. We hope you're getting out there, training as hard as you can, virtually racing harder, and partying the hardest. I know I am. Thank you so much for watching today's video. We'll see you guys next week. All right. Bye-bye.